You mentioned about living in the sheltered housing complex and people's reactions.
Yeah, when I first came in, when I did my hula hooping, I did it out in the communal hallway. And I'm right on the end, so I knew I wasn't in anybody's way. But I had the fire door and the lift not far. And I knew people were passing, so I would go, "Good morning." No response. One of my PAs actually put something on the fire door. You know, how nice to say good morning, and, you know, that being deafblind, you know, he was a bit more dark, so could people say hello? Well, it got torn off. Ultimately, I ended up doing it in the bedroom, and actually somebody did actually get into the lift on the next floor with me and my PA. She actually touched my hand just to say hello, which I thought was absolutely lovely, you know, because she took it on, you know, that I didn't know where she was. It was just sort of, I'm here to touch. I need to touch, you know.
During the war, I was a very little girl, and I was born when my mother was 41, and my older brother and sister, well, my brother was in the war, at the end of the war, my sister was doing her own thing. So when I was, you know, about 8 or 9, and my mother loved orchestral music, and we were starved very much of that type of music during the war. There was the orchestras of men had all gone off to war, and there were very little music played of that kind. So she used to take me along to any concert that was going, and I was very little, probably only 8 or 9, and I must have been extremely well behaved because I just sat there through all this music. But what it did do for me was to introduce me at a very young age to classical music, and I still have that love of it after all these years, you know. But I have to thank my mother for that, because sadly she died when I was only 16, so I was never able to really talk to her about things as an adult, because that last 2 years of her life she was in a great deal of pain and just wanted to be knocked out with. But I did get this wonderful training, if you like, in classics when I was extremely young, only 8, 9 years old.
Okay, a couple of people are talking, and the first one says, "I went to the theatre last night, but I had to leave after Act 1. So his friend said, "Oh, why was that?" And he said, "Well, the programme said Act 2 1 year later, and I couldn't wait."
Still the two of us. We have our walk. We hardly meet a soul. That, in a strange way, comforting. We start from home, and the path where my parents would have quitted, hand in hand, as we are now. We climb out of the valley and into Sandhole Lane, and touch the main road, where the co-op shop once stood, with its distinct, handcrafted shop front. We turn back towards the river, passing the timeless Crimble Farm. We hear the river again, and amazingly in front of us appears Crimble Mill. It stands 5 stories high, part of Lancashire's heritage. We pass through fields of wildflowers. I stop and look back at the top of the chimney of Crimble Mill, peering through the trees. I think, this is me. This is where I belong, and it feels good to be walking home. ended up washing up at a party we went to. A friend of ours who bought this place on top of the moor. And it was right at more or less at the tree line. It was a beautiful day down here. And when we got up there, of course, we were in our summer togs. It was absolutely freezing. And the only way I could get warm was to volunteer to wash up.